Hi, I'm Gregory Iron, professional wrestler who also happens to have cerebral palsy, and I'm going to tell you a story about the time I wrestled Vader. I'm 5'4" and have a developmental disability, and you would think that I would not be the individual that would be asked to wrestle Big Van Vader, one of the scariest professional wrestlers of all time. I actually wasn't supposed to work with Vader for a local show in Cleveland. Originally, the plan was for me to wrestle Roddy Piper, just kind of have like a little brawl of sorts with him during a Piper's Pit segment, which would have been a dream come true because Piper was one of my all-time favorites. But apparently he wanted too much money. Also, probably for the best that we didn't do that Piper's Pit segment, because my plan was to not smarten Roddy Piper up to it and to pop him. I was going to paint myself half black, like he did in his match with Bad News Brown. That wouldn't have aged well, so I'm glad that didn't happen. But they ended up booking Vader for this local show in Cleveland. I ended up doing a 10-man tag match, and Vader was going to interfere after the match. So before the show, very surreal moment because Vader wasn't one of my favorites, but he was one of the main bad guys that was wrestling against Hulk Hogan at the time that I started watching WCW, so I hated Vader, and I would draw him in a lot of my comic books as the bad guy. Not in a wrestling scenario, but on the show Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan, which he was never on. I was 9, so leave me alone. And I did enjoy Vader's work on Boy Meets World. Very entertaining. And it was just kind of weird that now, fast forward to 2015, I'm sitting in a ring with him and we're about to plan a segment where he's going to beat me and my goons, the Iron Curtain, up after the match. Get it? The Iron Curtain. Gregory Iron. Pun. Iron Curtain. Famous thing that happened in history. You know the thing. Look it up. So we're sitting in the ring and I pitch him this idea for what I would like to do with him, which I should have thought about. It's respect to kind of let the veteran plan out what they want to do and sort of ask them, hey, what are you interested in doing? But I was so excited about working with Vader that I just threw that out the window and I laid out this whole scenario and he listened to it and then he goes, here's what I'd want to do. You guys just stay in the ring and feed to me one by one and I'm just going to beat you all up, and you, little guy, he called me little guy, you'll be the last one because you're the leader, and I'll give you a choke slam or something, which was weird because he didn't really do the choke slam, but okay, get your shit in, Vader. So I said, okay. Fast forward to the match. We're the opening match of the show, and the crowd's really into this match. I mean, they are hot for this show. This was called Absolution, so it was AIW's big WrestleMania type event. And as the match is happening, we're about 90 seconds to going home. That means finishing the match in wrestling terminology. And Pedro, the ring announcer, comes up to me while I'm selling on the apron. And he goes, Vader says after the match, get out of the ring. He wants to cut a promo. So I said, okay, then what? Because that's not the plan. And he goes, I don't know. So I said, okay, great. That's what you want to hear when you're a scenario wrestling against Vader. One of the scariest humans of all time. Literally so terrifying back in his peak in WCW that if a jobber, which is an enhancement talent or an extra, that is basically paid to lose and make the guy that's hired look better, if an extra / jobber saw their name across from Vader's on the run sheet in the back, they would leave because they didn't want to get their ass beat for real by Vader. Match ends. Me and my goons go to the floor. Vader starts cutting this promo, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I start huddling up with my guys. And I go, okay, I'm not sure what we're supposed to do now, but my instincts tell me I'm going to filter you guys in one by one, much like we were going to do in the ring. And then I'll be the last guy. I'll sneak around so Vader doesn't see me. Because one of the big things that Vader mentioned was for none of us to put our hands on him. That's important here. I'll sneak around. he won't see me. So then when he turns around and then sees me, I can go, whoa, and beg off like a heel, and then he could just grab me and chokeslam me. So I filter the guys in one by one, and everything's going well. First guy doesn't look like it hurts too bad. Second guy definitely hits him very hard. He looks like he's dying. Third guy definitely going to tragically pass away after this is all said and done. So, as this is happening, I'm making my way around so that way Vader doesn't see me. But Vader, for some reason, decides to just watch me run around the ring. So in my head, in that moment, I think to myself, oh, he's watching me. So if I don't attack him, it just looks ridiculous, right? So I slide in, he's looking at me, and someone had told me before the show, because I didn't know whether or not I was going to actually have to get physical with Vader, but they said if you have to hit Vader, because of his history in Japan, he likes getting hit hard, and he will respect you if you hit him hard. So, in this moment, me, professional wrestler, 5'0",
Little guy.
cerebral palsy, little guy, I think to myself, well, I guess I'm going to have to hit Vader. So, I come at him, and I start throwing the hardest forearms and chops I can. But he immediately, because he's sort of like an actual trained fighter and like shoot fighting, he puts up his arms, and he's going, what the fuck, kid? What the fuck? Lighten up, lighten up. And then I start lighting up, and then I decide I'm going to beg off. And in that moment, he wails back and wham! Right across the side of the head. It looks brutal on footage, but it actually wasn't bad. Not that bad. It still sucked. Then he scoops me up, gives me the choke slam, rips his mask off, crowd goes crazy. Afterwards, Vader is sitting outside in the parking lot in the back of a U-Haul. Mask off, okay? And I walk up to him and I go, Mr. Vader, sir. I figured that would be the proper thing to call him. Not Leon or anything. Mr. Vader, sir. Was everything okay? And Vader says to me, brother, it's a work. And I'm thinking to myself, Vader, the man who's probably shortened a lot of careers in his time, is telling me, the guy with cerebral palsy, 150 pounds, that wrestling is fake. I actually recently sent that video to Stone Cold Steve Austin because he had posted a video on his Instagram account of him and Vader working in 96, and it looked pretty brutal. So if you can find that match from 1996, go look it up. And I sent him a clip of my scenario with Vader, and he said, RIP to you and your career. And I said, brother, my career was over long before I got in the ring with Vader. So also, probably should point out as well that the next day, apparently because I had hit Vader so hard, he texted the promoter and said, I'm too hurt to get on my flight. I need to get another flight home. This is a real thing that happened. Days later, someone sent out a clip to Vader from the match, and Vader responded, stiff little bastard. And I thought to myself, what is life? The guy from my comic books and Boy Meets World is telling me that I hit too hard. That is my story about the time I wrestled Vader.